us.
At the ministry in driving science and technology as a platform for socio-economic development of Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, you will all agree with me that from time immemorial, science and technology has always been the trigger of societal transformation. Right from the Stone Age to the period of Stone Age to the Italian Renaissance and to the 18th century Industrial Revolution up to this present age of globalization driven by the internet revolution. Science and technology has always been very crucial in kickstarting socio-economic development of a country. The case of developing country, especially Nigeria, cannot be any different. Successive governments in Nigeria have tinkered with science and technology as a tool for socio-economic development. But this time around, we have, they say new times warrant new thinking. This time around, we are having a paradigm shift in the scheme of things, a fresh perspective for the way forward. And so the Honorable Minister, in his wisdom, has unveiled a new dimension in the scheme of things by bringing up this roadmap as a sustainable tool for science and tech development in Nigeria. On this note, I have the pleasure and privilege to respectfully invite the Honorable Minister to deliver the text of his speech. Honorable Minister, sir.
Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, gentlemen of the press, most distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am exceedingly happy to address you today on very important developments in the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology. As you may be aware, just recently, I addressed the core directorate staff of the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology on some of the novel programs we have initiated with the aim of effectively utilizing science, technology, and innovation in Nigeria's developmental process. I mandated them to acquaint themselves with the philosophy and strategies of these various programs to enable them become effective channels through which such new policies can be properly disseminated and effectively implemented. In doing so, I drew their attention to the determination of the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari to use science, technology, and innovation as the centerpiece for realizing the National Economic Recovery and Growth Plan 2017 to 2020. This means that science, technology, and innovation is the new driver that will help diversify the nation's economy, create jobs, reduce poverty, conquer illiteracy, and significantly improve the standard of living of Nigerians. By so doing, we are working for the prosperity and happiness of our people and the greatness of our nation. Most distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the new world order that is unfolding indicates that the end of the crude oil era may not be too far away. Indeed, many countries in Europe and some other parts of the industrialized world are moving in a direction which suggests that in the near future, the demand for crude oil will reduce significantly. Nigeria must prepare adequately and quickly too for the challenges which such a situation will create for our economy. And it's obvious that our economy is dependent on crude oil as the mainstay, which definitely means that anything that has any serious and adverse consequence will affect us in a manner that will not be in our best interest. We should never forget that in the past, certain commodities that played such a dominant role, like crude oil, but due to advances in technology, lost their preeminent roles, have been the situation in the past in the world. Sugar is a very good example. Today, in many countries, particularly in the Caribbean, abandoned sugar refining factories can be seen. Those countries, at that time, whose economies depended mainly on sugar, suffered greatly when demand for the commodity fell sharply. It is therefore with this in mind that the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology has initiated bold and visionary new policies that will help move our economy in the direction of diversification, so that when the demand for crude oil drops in the global market, we can absorb the shock and avoid experiencing the trauma of recession, which has always adversely affected our economy. We must start now, not later, to prepare for a post-crude oil era. This is important not just for us, but for our children. To enable us achieve this, Nigeria should put in place measures that will enable her emerge as a nation that can produce what she needs and export the surplus to other parts of the world. This will strengthen our foreign reserves and boost foreign trade with its multiplying effect to our national economy. This is the only reasonable way to go. Indeed, we do not even have a choice. If we must be the great nation that we rightly deserve. It is in this regard that we have conceived of the new roadmap for science, technology, and innovation, which was approved by the Federal Executive Council to become the new key that will help us open the door for Nigeria's future sustainable development. This roadmap, when implemented, will help the economy adjust to the path of sustainable growth, so that it will quicken the pace of recovery in the short term and accelerate sustainable growth in the economy in the medium and the long terms. Roadmap that will bring Nigeria to make our nation to deepen the processes of effectively developing science, technology, and innovation as the engine of growth in a diversified economy. This will help our great nation move in a new, difficult, but ultimately rewarding direction that will help us make a major shift from a resource-based to a knowledge-based, innovation-driven economy. Secondly, we have put together a novel national strategy for promoting competitiveness in raw materials and materials development in Nigeria. Already, the Federal Executive Council has approved this. It is intended to confront and defeat the challenges posed by growing shifts in global production and trade patterns. This will help Nigeria conserve her scarce foreign exchange and stimulate global competitiveness that is derived from a resilient domestic capacity in a diversified economy for the good of our people. It is also noteworthy that the Federal Executive Council has also approved the new policy guidelines for the planning and execution of programs, projects, and contracts with science, engineering, and technology components. This is revolutionary, and this is the first time that this is happening in our great country. This will help our nation develop the necessary local capacity needed for us as a people to look inwards to seek solutions to our numerous problems. We cannot continue to depend on others to meet our needs. Nigeria has come of age. We cannot continue as the child that refused to grow up and continues to suck the breast of the mother, even beyond the time that is acceptable. We cannot continue to be a nation of mere consumers. We must start producing. We must be a nation that produces and consumes. It is in order to achieve this that the guidelines were designed to drastically reduce capital flight, promote local capacity, strengthen local manpower development, encourage indigenous technology capacity, enhance national self-reliance, and restore national pride. Implementation will strengthen and deepen the role of science, technology, and innovation in Nigeria's journey to build a modern economy that will create a new nation of stronger global acclaim in the Committee of Prosperous Democracies of the World. Most distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am confident that with these new policies, when fully implemented, science, technology, and innovation will do for Nigeria what it has done for other countries. The future is bright. The road we are taking is long and difficult, but the huge task can be accomplished and the goal achieved. I am confident that this new road we are taking will help Nigeria take her rightful place in the Committee of Prosperous Democracies of the World. We should never forget that the true greatness of nations, from ancient to modern times, has always been determined by how effective science and technology was deployed as an instrument for nation building. I am confident that our dear nation, in utilizing these novel programs, will become better and stronger for the happiness and prosperity of our people. In order to achieve this, all Nigerians, young and old, rich and poor, must work together. Whether we are in the private or in the public sector, we must work together. This is a journey that we all must go together, for no one should be left behind. Not even one Nigerian should be allowed to be left behind. This is a journey that will bring greatness to our country. I am confident that we will succeed. I thank you so much. God bless you.
Moving and revolutionary speech. I'm sure you all agree with me that this speech is well packed with politics, economics, and science, tech, and innovation. It is one thing to unveil this policy. It is another to secure the buy-in of the Federal Executive Council. And the Honorable Minister has succeeded in securing their buy-in so that the nation can move forward in the right direction. I think we need to appreciate the Honorable Minister. On this note, please, the Honorable Minister will welcome some questions from the media. Please, you tell us your name and the organization you work for. Okay, please. Tell us your name and the organization.
Yes. My name is Lara Folani. I work with TVC News. So I'd like you to tell us the key features of this roadmap, number one. Then what is the implementation time frame for the roadmap? Now, what does this hold for local technology? You've seen people, Nigerians who have come out with manufactured cars and they say the support is not there. What do this what does this group of people stand to gain from this roadmap? Then the science and technology, they say, is expensive. What may be the likely financial implication of implementing this roadmap? Now, the raw materials, one more please. The Raw Materials Research and Development Council, is always complaining we don't have funds, to help develop local raw materials for production. How do they come in here? What role are they going to be playing in helping to implement this roadmap? Thank you very much, sir.
Yes. Good morning, Honorable Minister. My name is Godfrey Obinata of Galaxy TV. My question is just one. I want to find out the issue of modular refineries. And this is one aspect of technology that isn't getting the desired attention. We'd like to know what is the federal government doing with respect to that. That's what's up.
It's God knows when I work with the African. I work with African Independent Television. The science and tech and the innovation you're bringing in, how will it help, particularly in agriculture, in some of the farm produce to be preserved?
For these questions, yes, let me start with the roadmap. The major features of the roadmap, the first very important feature of the roadmap is that we all know that in our country today, if you go to many of our primary or secondary schools, you find our pupils in the primary school and many of them, and students in the secondary schools, anytime something like mathematics is mentioned or even sciences, many of them tend to run away, from that. Also, in our homes, I know so many people who wanted to study sciences or engineering or related disciplines, but their parents discouraged them. I'm sure you also have such an experience. And the worst part is that there is that thinking with quite a number of our people that when you talk of technology, even the cameras that you are using here, video cameras, still cameras that you are using, all the things, many people think that, no, this is not for those who have the color of skin, that we have. Unfortunately. So with the first feature of this roadmap, which I will encourage you, we have a copy. We have also this in soft copy. We'll be very happy to send this, to you. The very first feature was to correct this thinking that actually our ancestors here in Nigeria, in the various, Nigeria became a country, 1914. But we have kingdoms that were on for a period of even 1,000 years, ruled by just one dynasty. So that will show you how old Nigeria really is, even though the country Nigeria came into existence in 1914. So a lot of inventions, a lot of scientific and technological that our ancestors understood their environment. If you read this roadmap, you'll find the Portuguese, not us, who came into Nigeria in the, I think, between the 14th and 17th centuries, a very long time ago, how they looked at Benin. Very interesting. They said that the city walls then in Benin, they put it in their own report, about 4 times the length of the Great Walls of China, which we know we accept as one of the wonders of the world. But the walls in Benin, and our people, they made a tremendous, they understood their environment and made tremendous contributions. So that's the first feature. Then we did something that is not the normal thing. We decided that this roadmap should span 2017 to 2030, so that we can have short term, medium term, and long term to cover a long period. Because normally roadmaps last just about 3-4 years. Because you do it, you are conscious of the fact that an administration will just be on for a limited period of time. So, but we decided, because technology is something that takes time. For you to develop technology, you have to be somebody who is patient. You have to be committed to what you are doing, and so on. So these are the features in the principal features in the roadmap. So in this roadmap, we have shown the direction, that science and technology will influence all other sectors of development in the country, whether it's agriculture, whether it's health, whether it's power, whether it's defense, every area that agriculture, that science and technology has a very important role. It's all contained in the roadmap. And they will urge you, if you have time, please read this roadmap. I've talked about the time frame, 2017 to 2030, and we put it, classified it short term, medium term, and then long term. I think other question that maybe the Raw Materials Research and Development Council, a relationship with the roadmap and also the competitiveness. The Raw Materials Research and Development Council is one of the 17 agencies under the supervision of the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology. It's a very important agency. because right now we have seen that we import things that we really should be producing here. And so if we are able to ensure that we work hard to make sure that the raw materials that we need, we will first of all look at what we have available, see whether there are things that we can do to make them, to bring them to the form that we need, so as to eliminate, this pressure that is on our currency, trying to make sure that we use things that are made outside and so on. So the Raw Material Research and Development Council is very important. It has a very important role to play in the roadmap, but it is very, very important in the second novel initiative that I presented to you on how to promote competitiveness, in raw materials production. Maybe I should mention to you that when the Raw Material Research and Development Council, on behalf of the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, now took an inventory, of raw materials that is imported into the country. You cannot believe it. On the basis of data that we got from the Bureau of Statistics and then the customs, that within the next 5 years, that all the raw materials and the inputs that that you can produce in this country, that will be able to save up to 3 trillion. 3 trillion, naira. And when you mention that figure, everybody will say, is this possible? But if you don't look at the petroleum products that we import into the country, imagine the cost of bringing in petrol, diesel, and kerosene into the country, just that alone. And there was a time we were importing rice up to the level of $5 million a day. There was a time, and it kept decreasing and so on. So if you put this together, you can see that we can even make higher savings. So the Raw Material Research and Development Council is very important in what we want to do. You've not asked me questions on the last initiative, so I won't bother to go there, but it's very important. We will, maybe in future, we will speak more so that because that is really the revolution that we are working on. Now, in terms of the modular refineries, yes, they are very important. Very, very important. We really don't have any reason to be importing refined petroleum products. And this is why the ministry is working very hard to move us away from being a resource-based economy, whereby you produce crude oil and then you import refined petroleum products. You produce natural gas, then you import your fertilizer. I mean, these things shouldn't happen. You export your wood, you bring in toothpicks. These are things that shouldn't happen at all. They shouldn't happen at all. So, and don't forget that government built 4 refineries in the country. Many people forget that the 2 of them are located in Port Harcourt, the oldest and the newest, then 2 others in Warri and Kaduna. And the first refinery was built in the 1960s. 1960s, the first refinery. But it's so worrisome that even the new refinery that the private sector, somebody is building, I don't want to mention his name, even if government wants to build today, you still need foreign expertise. That shouldn't be. Because for those who studied chemical engineering, a very smart year 2 or year 3 student can design for you a refinery. In Ahmadu Bello University, if you go there now, I went there myself, the Raw Materials and the Research and Development Council is assisting them. They are building a refinery right there in the campus, so that their students can at least benefit from practical experience. So there is nothing there. And that is why the very last thing that I mentioned to you, the policy guidelines the technology components is very important. Because in that, we are saying, look, that this shouldn't be the case. Brazil built Brasilia about the same time that Nigeria built Abuja. But Brazil said, look, we're building this Brasilia, we want to domesticate and acquire, technology. So while they were building Brasilia, they understudied the people who came from outside to do so. With the result that if a new Brasilia is to be built, they will build it themselves. But Abuja, if we need to build another Abuja, do you think we'll build it ourselves? No. And we're saying this must stop. And that's what that initiative is, guarantee the nation once it's implemented. Because there are so many things there that will do so. So for the modular refineries, yes, the national president of the Nigerian Society of Chemical Engineers led a delegation to the acting president, and they presented, that, to him. I know that, the government policy of government is, yes, we want the private sector, which is also what we're trying to do here, commercialization of research findings. We want to start to make sure that the linkage between research institutes and the organized private sector is very strong, and industry very, very strong, so that our research will be driven, by the needs of industry and the top priority needs of the nation. Because when you do that, whatever research you do can easily be commercialized. But the research that we had done in this ministry before I came, and the ones we are doing now, we are working very hard. We want to secure intellectual property by patenting them and then also commercializing them. We've done that with May and Baker. We did that with NASCO Foods Limited, and there are so many others in the pipeline. So we are very hopeful that Nigerians will embrace this, come up with modular refineries, and also come with the difference between modular and then the normal refinery. So we need all of them, because when you refine petroleum products, you will have so many products. It's not just petrol, diesel, kerosene. There are so many others, including even wax and so on. It's like this palm oil that we use for cooking. In Malaysia, they do, just as you refine food, that's how they refine it. You have more than 100 products. So so it's very important, for us that the capacity to ensure that our resources, you add value to them, is the only way we can create jobs. Is the only way. There is no other way. Because if we keep importing things from outside, we will now be exporting jobs, and we'll be creating unemployment in Nigeria. The situation is so bad now that it's not just engineers, it's not just architects, even medical doctors are unemployed. And it's not acceptable, because we don't even have enough of them. So that's why we are taking these measures. The last measure last initiative will help us to correct, all this. Then finally, a question came on the link with how this will help agriculture. What people don't understand is that agriculture is at least 90% science and technology.
Yes.
Many people don't realize that. They just think, oh no, it's the tractors, that they see that prepare the land and so on. But okay, let's look at what is agriculture. If you want to plant a seed, the first thing is to select the seed.
Yes.
And to select that seed, science and technology comes in handily, because you have seeds that can give you high yield. Yes. You have seeds that can resist very difficult environmental conditions. For example, if you are in a place where you have very little rainfall, there are certain seeds that will perform well there. So that is about seeds. Then you take that seed to prepare the land. Is a science and technology. To plant it is also science and technology. Even the gap, the distance between two crops, it's also, you have to determine it through research and innovation. Now, to apply manure, fertilizer, is science and technology. To weed the place, all these large farms you have, mechanized farms you have abroad, it's not done manually. No, it's science and tech that will go and remove those weeds and leave the crops that you have planted. Then also, what happens when, to harvest it, it's also science and technology. Now, when you harvest it, how do you store it? It's science and technology. Then after storing, how do you preserve it to make sure that it can last long? It's science and technology. Now, if it lasts long, how do you convert it to the form that you want it? Because at times, you may not need it in its raw state. It's again science and technology. So from the beginning to the end is science and technology. As a matter of fact, people know that it's 95% science and technology. And any nation that does not apply science and technology to agriculture will never be competitive. Why? Because you can make a lot of efforts initially, but after some time, you will not be competitive. And other people will be producing at a cheaper rate. And that way, they will make, more, the profit margin will be wider, much bigger. And, you'll be out of business. Infrastructure routes, everything is science and technology. We have a lot to contribute to it. And it's very important that Nigerians recognize this. I know that recognition had not been there. And this is why we are working very hard in this ministry to make sure that we let our people know that this is the way to go. The missing link, that thing that has been missing, that yes, every time we have done well, then we will get back and this time, once we apply science and technology to our nation building, we will now bring a knowledge-based economy. So that when prices of commodities fall in the international market, it will not affect us adversely. There will be other things for us to work with. So I really thank you so much for this.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, sir, of this occasion. But before we go, I think I will call on the Director of Health and Biomedical Services to give a vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. To give a word of thanks is a very simple thing. So I thank you. We first have to thank God for the opportunity for this World Press Conference, the wisdom, the way, and good head to attend to this. So we thank God for that. We also thank the Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, who has done from a politician, as a governor, as a minister, and now as a lecturer. He was lecturing us. And so many of us are learning from what he was teaching us. And so we thank him. So in management, we call that multi-skill. So the man is a multi-skill professional. And so we thank you very much for that, Honorable Minister. We continue to listen to you. We implore that all of us try to do what he says, not just listen to it and not do it. It's when we do it that we're able to succeed. Because what's the problem in this country is that most of their plans are not implemented judiciously. So we should be able to do what is saying and implement all our plans judiciously so that there will be socio-economic development and sustainable national development. So, Minister, we thank you very much for supporting the minister. So, supporting the minister so that he will be able to execute our plans and programs. We thank members of the press, both local and international. We implore you that you should report well, sincerely, and make sure that what we say get to the whole world correctly and genuinely. Thank you very much.
Before we go, some of our directors will please come forward so that the Honorable Minister will now present the roadmap to the public.